Hi, I'm Robert, and it's Thursday, April 25th, 2019. Our new lines look awesome. Really freshens things up and gives us a boat that's just about ready to sail, except for we don't have a motor, which will make it somewhat complicated. There's rust and there's signs that it's been leaking from here, and it's not an area where we could particularly take any chances. But before we can get to that steel plate, we're going to have to go through the windlass. But before we can touch the windlass, we're going to have to remove the forward access panel in the V-berth. It's a shame to touch it because it is original woodwork on the boat. So we're going to have to drill out these plugs and very carefully look around to find the right screws to pop this out without breaking anything. Good chance we'll have to take these shelves off too. It looks like they'll be in the way. This is the underside of that stainless steel plate. Obviously, the steel doesn't look very good, but it is promising that we see the headstay anchor mounted to the bow, which seems a lot stronger. While we're not going to be able to replace that steel backing plate, we may be able to reinforce it by taking a few smaller backing plates and placing them under, so we just have to remove a few bolts at a time. That should make it strong enough for us to get to where we need to go. So we cleared everything out of the forward V-berth so that we could work up here. But before we get started, we're going to take our drawers over to the garage and take a look at some of the gear that's stored over there. While we're at the garage, we're also going to take a look at the trysail, which fits on this track here. We're also going to take a look at the jibs we have to see if there's a possibility that one of them has a bolt rope that'll fit into the track of the roller furler. So we're going to get to work on the bow. The reason is we want to get this boat sailing. And in order to get sailing, we must have the anchor windlass and we must have a jib headstay that we're confident about. And then maybe we'll launch our tender for the first time and take a look at the underside of the bow pulpit and the headstay anchor. Now we're going to take a look at some of the gear we removed from the boat, starting with the 19 drawers that I just carried up here. Here we have our ship's table. It's a beautiful folding table. Looks to me like walnut. Probably going to need a little refinishing to look beautiful. This curved piece behind the screens for the main companionway, a couple of pieces of mahogany that were lying in the boat for some unknown reason, and these are the screens for the deck hatches. This round piece behind it is the back of the dinette. And of course in the dinette and in all the bunks we have cushions. And the cushions look like they're in pretty good shape, and we're going to try to use them. Here we have all kinds of safety gear, including our man overboard, horseshoe, lifesaver, setup, bunch of harnesses, life jackets, and a 10-person life raft. We'll see if that works. As well as the lines for the extra anchor and something else here. I don't know what it's for. Here are the oars for the dinghy. We're going to bring them with us since We haven't had time to play with the motor yet. We want to row around the boat. Some of the other good stuff we found is this brand new propane grill, which we're going to be using soon. Also, we have a couple of kerosene lanterns and the chairs that go on top of the winches. And we have the rusty rock anchor. I forget what you call these anchors again. We're going to look that up. It's the old traditional sea anchor look. And this is the anchor you use if your plow won't hold because the ground is too hard. Right alongside the anchor we have the emergency tiller. These things are going to get sanded and we'll probably spray them with a vinyl coating. Here's the sea anchor. It's all nice and rigged up, but it's a little tangled. We'll get that together and show you how that works. And we have lots of sails. The first sail that's interesting is this heavy weather jib. It looks like about an 80% jib, and it has a bolt rope that may fit on our roller furler. So we're going to take it home and give it a try. Also, here's the trysail. We're going to put that in the bag and bring it back too. These are the covers that go on the boom, the sail covers. Here we have the Mizzen Sail. Also in the mix is a 150 Genoa and the spinnaker. And this baggy fun blue thing is the Mizzen Staysail. Now the Mizzen Staysail looks like a lot of fun. And I've never actually flown a Mizzen Staysail, or ever actually saw one on a sailing boat. But it is a great sail, and it's a special way to get yourself up to full power in light air. Now we have our trysail, our heavy weather jib, and our Mizzen Staysail in the bags and ready to take home. Also found what look like bosun's harnesses, so our friend George, who you will meet soon, can take a ride up to the top of the mast, and another mystery line, which we'll figure out where that goes. The mainsail and the mizzen sail are here too. But they're a little heavy to move and a little too much trouble for me to deal with right now. We're going to have enough fun with the Mizzen Staysail to keep us busy for a while. Yeah, this is a great garage that we've been able to use. Unfortunately, it's not actually our garage. The owner's letting us use it. And it's also for sale. And the people that are interested in buying it are coming over this weekend. And I just have to get my tools loaded into my truck. So let's talk about some of the tools we're going to be using here. Grinders, saws. I already pulled out the drills, the big grinders. Over here we have our nailers. We won't need too many of these. Probably this box we don't need at all. We got lots of plumbing stuff. We're going to sure need that. A whole box of engine mechanical tools, which we pretty much need. Table saws, air compressor, Bunch of old pieces of wood that I saved. And plenty of scaffold and scaffold planks, which we will use when we get the boat in the yard. We're going to put a scaffold up right next to it to make it easy. Work on the sides and climb in and out. And it all goes inside our huge 22,000 pound truck, which is actually a custom built, modified motorhome. Came from government surplus. So our plan is coming together. The boat is going to go to a boatyard. The truck is going to follow. And we'll have our tools and a workshop wherever we go. We made a dent in it. So we have our 3 sails, the lines we found, the bosun's chairs, the oars, and here comes our first mate to help carry the load. Hi, honey.
So, how do you learn about all these parts and how they work?
Now you're going to show us how you attach the jib halyard to the jib. Go ahead. Now we're going to try to make this jib fit into the roller furler, to fit into that track. There's a bolt rope on the jib that should fit there, but it's not exactly the right kind of jib for this particular setup. Put 3 wraps around it. Crank it. And there is our heavy weather jib. It does fit on there fine. That is a small jib. I tell you, we need one a little bigger than that, I think, if we're going to go anywhere. So now, we've attached the jib sheet to the clew of the jib. And the jib sheet runs back to the track. Now I adjusted the car on the jib track most of the way to the front just to keep a nice space between the stanchion and where the sheet goes through. So now our jib sheet is rigged, tied to the clew, through the car on the track, and up to the self-tailing winch. And now our first mate is going to show us how we sheet in the jib sheet. It's a 2-speed winch. You crank it to the right is slow, and crank it the other way for fast speed. Come around the cleat, always come back first, and then we tie the cleat. And now she's going to let the jib sheet out. That's right, you leave one turn on the winch just so you can keep some control over it, assuming that there might be some wind pulling that out. There we go. And now that we have a jib up, we're going to take it back down. First, she unties it from the cleat. That's it. Just have 2 turns on the winch as you let it come down. Let it down fast. Now we lock the halyard back to the front where the jib is. That's the tack of the jib, so that we don't lose the halyard. So now we're going to do something you don't see often, and in fact I've never actually seen it either, is we're going to put up the Mizzen Staysail. Now the Mizzen Staysail attaches to these 2 funny blocks. Since the wind is coming over the starboard side of the boat, we make sure that our running backstay is attached on the starboard side, and the Mizzen Staysail will be flying on the port side. Just like a spinnaker, the first thing we need to do is run the seams to make sure we're not tangled up here. This is definitely the tack. This is our mizzen halyard. We don't have the mizzen sail up right now, but we can lock it here so that we can free up this winch, and then we can use the winch for trimming the Mizzen Staysail. The boom should be out a little farther. Let me get that. We might have the wrong angle here. And from here, our crew can control the sheet. You really don't even need the winch. It's pretty easy to handle. Look at it. It looks beautiful. And that is what a Mizzen Staysail looks like. Looks like we got it rigged up correctly. We're replacing that vang tang. I'm guessing this is what broke it. And it seems pretty easy to handle that sheet line. Though it does look like the stripes are going the wrong way. So now it's time for us to come up with a new name for the boat. Usually I don't like to change the name of a boat because the old sailor saying that it's bad luck, but this boat's been sitting here for almost 15 years and practically sunk. It had a pretty bad run with this name, and I know it was renamed by the previous owner who renamed it and then let it sink. So it's time to rename the boat. And we know we want to talk about giving. So we want to have a name that has something to do with giving. So I was thinking about something like To Give. What do you think of that, honey?
I guess. I don't think it sounds so great, but...
It doesn't sound great?
Not really.
Well, what's something like giving that we could, a word like give, that sounds better?
I mean, I can look up some words in the thesaurus, see.
Okay.
Alright, well, we've got bestow, contribute,
Okay,
donate.
hold on a second. Don't move. I'm going to change the shot or else it gets boring. Come in on you. And just hold your phone away from your face a little so you can just sort of look up at the camera when you're reading it. Okay. So now you're going to say, put your arm down. You're going to say what you found there. What's that? It's my boat. You could call it whatever you want. We're trying to come up with the name of bestowal, you understand? You're supposed to tell me, you're supposed to look up the word bestow or something, and then read the list of the words. Where am I supposed to go with that?
Okay.
It's your boat, you could do whatever you want.
Okay.
How about I name it Robert? Robert Jr. Yeah, might as well. Okay.
Okay.
So we don't need a video. We don't need to talk about it.
I'll look up bestow in the dictionary.
Okay, we're gonna try again. All right. Well, I like the sound of bestow. Why don't we call it to bestow?
Okay. Well, I'm curious. I'm just gonna look that up. What bestow actually means.
That makes sense.
Okay, so it says here.
Let's go back to your tight shot. Okay, go.
As a verb, it means to present as a gift, to confer, usually followed by on or upon. Time spent in study is time well bestowed is another. Okay, so I'm seeing the definition of bestow in here as a verb. It's to put to use or apply, to put in a particular or appropriate place, like bestowed in her car, to provide with quarters.
Honey, let's stop. Go.
Okay, so I looked here and I see the different forms of the word bestow.
You can start now.
So the definition of bestow that I found was to give valuable property or an important right or honor to someone. To bestow something on someone. The king had friends on whom he bestowed land and privileges. I see bestow, bestows, bestowing, bestowed, bestowal.
Oh, let me see. I like the sound of bestowal. Can we call it bestowal? I want it to be to bestow. What do you think?
I guess we'd have to make it work in a name.
Let's try again, honey. You're supposed to say, I'm supposed.
The chicken is burning.
I like the sound of bestowal. How about to bestowal? Does that make sense?
More like of bestowal?
Of bestowal. That sounds like a good name for a boat, so I guess that's it.